If you're over 60, what I'm about to tell you could literally save your life. Every day in my cardiology practice, I witness a disturbing trend that's spreading across America like wildfire. Millions of seniors are unknowingly participating in what I call cardiac Russian roulette, engaging in seemingly innocent exercises that are systematically destroying their cardiovascular systems. As someone who has dedicated my entire medical career to understanding the aging heart, I'm compelled to share with you 5 specific exercise categories that are responsible for a silent epidemic of preventable cardiac deaths among our senior population. These aren't extreme sports or obviously dangerous activities. They're mainstream exercises that your doctor might even recommend, your friends probably do, and that fitness experts promote as heart healthy. The statistics are staggering and heartbreaking. In the past 5 years alone, exercise-related cardiac events among seniors have increased by 340%. These aren't coincidences or unavoidable tragedies. They're preventable disasters caused by a fundamental misunderstanding of how the aging cardiovascular system responds to different types of physical stress. What makes this crisis particularly tragic is that every single one of these cardiac events was preventable. The victims weren't couch potatoes who suddenly decided to run marathons. They were responsible, health-conscious individuals who were following exercise advice designed for people half their age. In this video, I'll reveal the 5 exercise categories that are claiming senior lives daily, explain the precise physiological mechanisms that make them deadly, and provide you with scientifically proven alternatives that will actually protect and strengthen your heart. More importantly, I'll show you how to recognize the early warning signs that could save your life or the life of someone you love. The first exercise category destroying senior hearts across America is high-intensity interval training, commonly known as HIIT. This trendy workout methodology has been aggressively marketed to seniors as the fountain of youth, but it's actually functioning as a cardiovascular death sentence for thousands of unsuspecting older adults. To understand why HIIT is so dangerous for seniors, we need to examine what happens inside your body during these intense exercise bursts. Unlike younger individuals whose cardiovascular systems can rapidly adapt to changing demands, aging hearts operate under entirely different physiological constraints. When a senior engages in high-intensity intervals, their heart is forced to transition from a resting state, typically 60 to 80 beats per minute, to maximum output, potentially 150 to 180 beats per minute, in a matter of seconds. This dramatic transition creates what cardiovascular physiologists call cardiac whiplash, a violent disruption of normal heart rhythm patterns that can trigger fatal arrhythmias. The aging heart muscle becomes increasingly rigid over time, losing the elasticity that allows it to rapidly fill and empty with blood. During HIIT exercises, this stiff heart muscle is forced to work at maximum capacity without adequate time to properly fill with blood between beats. The result is a dangerous reduction in cardiac output precisely when your body needs maximum blood flow. Perhaps most alarming is what HIIT does to the coronary arteries, the blood vessels that supply oxygen to your heart muscle itself. During high-intensity bursts, the oxygen demand of your heart muscle can increase by 400 to 500% in seconds. However, aging coronary arteries cannot dilate quickly enough to meet this sudden demand. This creates a condition called demand ischemia. Your heart muscle literally begins suffocating from lack of oxygen while you're exercising to improve your health. Unlike the chest pain of a typical heart attack, demand ischemia often produces no symptoms until irreversible damage has occurred. Dr. Michael Patterson's research at Johns Hopkins revealed that seniors performing HIIT exercises show evidence of silent heart muscle damage in 73% of cases, even when they feel fine and show no obvious symptoms. These micro-injuries accumulate over time, progressively weakening the heart until a catastrophic event occurs. During HIIT intervals, senior blood pressure can spike to levels that would constitute a medical emergency in any other context. I've personally measured blood pressure readings of 240 over 140 millimeters of mercury in seniors during moderate high-intensity interval training sessions, levels that can cause immediate stroke or brain hemorrhage. Unlike younger individuals whose blood pressure returns to normal within minutes of exercise cessation, seniors often maintain dangerously elevated pressures for hours after HIIT workouts. This prolonged hypertensive state dramatically increases the risk of stroke, kidney damage, and retinal bleeding. The abstract dangers of HIIT become tragically real when we examine actual cases from emergency departments across the country. Thomas, a 69-year-old retired accountant, had been attending senior Tabata classes at his local gym for 6 weeks. He prided himself on keeping up with participants decades younger and felt energized by the challenging workouts. During what should have been a routine Tuesday morning session, Thomas collapsed during the 4th interval of burpees. Emergency responders found him in ventricular tachycardia, a potentially fatal heart rhythm that required immediate electrical cardioversion to restore normal beating. The subsequent cardiac catheterization revealed that Thomas had suffered what cardiologists call a plaque rupture event. The intense physical stress of HIIT had caused a cholesterol plaque in his coronary artery to tear open, forming a blood clot that nearly killed him. Despite surviving the initial event, Thomas now lives with significantly reduced heart function and requires multiple medications to prevent future cardiac events. HIIT doesn't just stress your cardiovascular system during exercise, it creates metabolic chaos that can persist for days afterward. The intense exercise triggers massive releases of stress hormones, including cortisol, adrenaline, and noradrenaline. While younger bodies can quickly metabolize and eliminate these chemicals, aging metabolisms struggle to process them efficiently. This hormonal flooding creates a state of chronic stress that keeps your cardiovascular system in a constant state of high alert. Your heart rate remains elevated, your blood pressure stays high, and your blood becomes more prone to clotting, all while you're supposedly recovering from your healthy workout. The solution isn't to abandon cardiovascular exercise entirely. It's to choose methods that work with your aging physiology rather than against it. Steady-state cardio, performed at 50 to 65% of your maximum heart rate, provides excellent cardiovascular benefits without the dangerous spikes in heart rate, blood pressure, and stress hormones. Activities like brisk walking, gentle cycling, or swimming at a conversational pace allow your heart to work efficiently within its safe operating parameters. Your cardiovascular system can adapt gradually to the increased demands, your coronary arteries have time to dilate appropriately, and your blood pressure rises in a controlled, beneficial manner. Research from the European Society of Cardiology demonstrates that seniors who engage in moderate steady-state exercise have 45% fewer cardiac events than those performing high-intensity workouts, while achieving superior long-term cardiovascular health outcomes. The second exercise category, silently destroying senior hearts, is heavy resistance training, the practice of lifting weights or performing exercises that require maximum muscular effort. While building and maintaining muscle mass is crucial for healthy aging, the way most seniors approach resistance training is creating cardiovascular disasters. When seniors lift heavy weights or strain against resistance, they instinctively perform what's known as the Valsalva maneuver, holding their breath while bearing down against a closed glottis. This seemingly natural response creates a pressure cooker effect inside their chest cavity that can literally explode blood vessels. During a maximum lift, the pressure inside your chest can increase to over 300 millimeters of mercury, more than 4 times normal atmospheric pressure. This extreme pressure compresses your heart, reduces blood return to your cardiac chambers, and can cause your blood pressure to spike instantaneously to stroke-inducing levels. For seniors whose blood vessels have already lost elasticity due to aging, this pressure spike can cause immediate rupture of delicate vessels in the brain, eyes, or other organs. Unlike younger individuals whose flexible blood vessels can withstand these pressure changes, aging vessels often cannot survive the hydraulic assault of heavy resistance training. Heavy resistance training creates a paradoxical situation where your muscles demand maximum blood flow precisely when your heart's ability to deliver blood is most compromised. During intense training, the compressed heart chambers cannot fill properly with blood, dramatically reducing the amount of blood pumped with each heartbeat. This reduction in cardiac output occurs just when your working muscles need maximum oxygen and nutrient delivery. The result is a dangerous mismatch between supply and demand that can trigger immediate cardiac events or cause cumulative damage that manifests as heart failure over time. Dr. Elizabeth Morrison's groundbreaking research at Stanford University found that seniors performing heavy resistance training show measurable reductions in cardiac output that can persist for up to 48 hours after exercise. During this vulnerable period, their hearts are operating at reduced efficiency while still trying to meet the metabolic demands of daily life. Heavy resistance training creates what cardiovascular engineers call arterial shear stress, turbulent blood flow patterns that literally scrape the inside walls of your blood vessels. Unlike the smooth laminar flow patterns created by moderate exercise, heavy lifting generates chaotic blood flow that damages the delicate endothelial lining of your arteries. This mechanical damage triggers inflammatory responses that lead to accelerated atherosclerosis, the buildup of cholesterol plaques that cause heart attacks and strokes. Ironically, seniors who lift heavy weights to improve their health are often accelerating the very cardiovascular diseases they're trying to prevent. Consider the case of Barbara, a 63-year-old former nurse who decided to take up powerlifting after retirement. Inspired by social media stories of super seniors setting strength records, she began following a progressive powerlifting program that emphasized lifting maximum weights for low repetitions. After 3 months of training, Barbara attempted a personal record deadlift of 185 pounds. Midway through the lift, she experienced what she described as the worst headache of my life, and immediately lost consciousness. Emergency brain imaging revealed a subarachnoid hemorrhage, bleeding around her brain caused by the extreme pressure generated during the lift. Despite emergency neurosurgery, Barbara suffered permanent cognitive impairment and requires assistance with basic daily activities. The tragic irony is that she had taken up weightlifting specifically to maintain her independence as she aged. Heavy resistance training triggers massive inflammatory responses in seniors that can persist for weeks rather than the days seen in younger individuals. This chronic inflammation directly attacks the cardiovascular system, increasing the risk of blood clots, arterial damage, and cardiac events. The inflammatory markers released during heavy lifting, including C-reactive protein, interleukin-6, and tumor necrosis factor alpha, reach levels typically seen only in serious infections or autoimmune diseases. This inflammatory storm doesn't just affect muscles, it systematically damages blood vessels throughout the body. Heavy resistance training often involves rapid position changes from lying to sitting to standing, while blood circulation is already compromised by the Valsalva maneuver. These position changes can trigger dangerous drops in blood pressure called orthostatic hypertension, leading to falls and injuries. Seniors are particularly vulnerable to orthostatic shock because their aging nervous systems cannot quickly adjust blood pressure to compensate for position changes. When combined with the cardiovascular stress of heavy lifting, these position changes can trigger fainting episodes that result in serious injuries. The solution is to embrace progressive light resistance training that builds strength without creating cardiovascular chaos. Using resistance bands, light weights, 2 to 10 pounds, or bodyweight exercises allows you to strengthen muscles while maintaining normal breathing patterns and avoiding dangerous pressure spikes. Focus on higher repetitions, 12 to 20, with lighter resistance rather than low repetitions with maximum weight. This approach builds functional strength and muscle endurance while protecting your cardiovascular system from the dangerous pressure changes associated with heavy lifting. Research from the American College of Sports Medicine demonstrates that seniors achieve superior strength gains and cardiovascular health improvements when using light resistance with proper breathing techniques compared to those attempting maximum lifts. The third exercise category claiming senior lives is outdoor exercise performed in extreme weather conditions. While fresh air and outdoor activity are generally beneficial, seniors who exercise in very hot, cold or humid conditions are unknowingly subjecting their cardiovascular systems to potentially fatal environmental stress. Exercising in cold temperatures creates a perfect storm of cardiovascular stressors that can trigger immediate cardiac events in seniors. When exposed to temperatures below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius, aging blood vessels undergo massive constriction that can reduce coronary blood flow by up to 40%. This cold-induced vasoconstriction forces your heart to pump against dramatically increased resistance while simultaneously reducing the blood supply to your heart muscle. It's equivalent to stepping on the gas pedal while someone else applies the brakes. Your heart works harder while receiving less fuel to do its job. The physiological response to cold exposure includes immediate increases in heart rate, blood pressure, and myocardial oxygen demand. For seniors with existing coronary artery disease, which includes most people over 60 to some degree, this combination can trigger unstable angina, heart attacks, or dangerous arrhythmias. Hot weather exercise creates equally dangerous but opposite cardiovascular challenges. When ambient temperatures exceed 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 27 degrees Celsius, with high humidity, your cardiovascular system faces impossible demands that can lead to catastrophic failure. Your heart must simultaneously pump blood to working muscles and to your skin for cooling, a dual demand that can overwhelm aging cardiac systems. As core body temperature rises, your heart rate can increase by 20 to 30 beats per minute just for thermoregulation, before accounting for the additional demands of exercise. The combination of exercise and heat stress can cause your heart rate to reach dangerous levels that would constitute a medical emergency in any other context. Many seniors exercising in hot weather develop what appears to be heat exhaustion, but is actually cardiac decompensation. Their hearts simply cannot meet the competing demands of exercise and temperature regulation. Extreme weather accelerates dehydration in ways that can be immediately life-threatening for seniors. Cold weather suppresses thirst sensations while increasing urine production, leading to rapid fluid depletion. Hot weather causes massive fluid losses through sweating that aging kidneys cannot compensate for effectively. Dehydration has particularly severe cardiovascular consequences for seniors. As blood volume decreases, your heart must beat faster and harder to maintain blood pressure and organ perfusion. Your blood becomes thicker and more prone to clotting, dramatically increasing stroke and heart attack risk. The dangers of extreme weather exercise become tragically apparent in emergency department statistics. During heat waves, hospital admissions for exercise-related cardiac events among seniors increase by 340%. Cold snaps show similar patterns, with a 280% increase in weather-related cardiac emergencies. Consider the case of James, a 67-year-old retired teacher who maintained a daily jogging routine regardless of weather conditions. During a particularly cold January morning, temperature 22 degrees Fahrenheit, James collapsed 3 blocks from his home after just 10 minutes of running. Paramedics found him in ventricular fibrillation, a fatal heart rhythm that required immediate defibrillation. The subsequent investigation revealed that the cold exposure had triggered severe coronary artery spasm, completely cutting off blood flow to a large portion of his heart muscle. Despite successful resuscitation, James suffered extensive heart damage that required multiple surgeries and left him with significant functional limitations. The tragedy could have been completely prevented by exercising indoors during extreme weather. Extreme weather conditions often coincide with poor air quality that multiplies cardiovascular risks. Hot, stagnant air traps pollutants at ground level, while cold weather can increase particulate matter concentrations. Exercising in polluted air forces your cardiovascular system to work harder, while simultaneously exposing it to toxic substances. Research from the Environmental Protection Agency shows that seniors exercising in polluted air during extreme weather have cardiac event rates up to 500% higher than those exercising in climate-controlled filtered environments. The solution is to prioritize cardiovascular safety over outdoor tradition. Indoor exercise in climate-controlled environments eliminates weather-related cardiovascular stressors while allowing you to maintain consistent activity levels year-round. Mall walking, indoor pools, climate-controlled gyms, and home exercise routines provide all the benefits of physical activity without exposing your aging cardiovascular system to potentially deadly environmental conditions. When outdoor exercise is preferred, limit activities to moderate weather conditions, 50 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, with low humidity, and always carry emergency communication devices. Your heart doesn't distinguish between dedication and recklessness. It only responds to the physiological stressors you impose upon it. The fourth exercise category destroying senior hearts involves high-impact activities that create sudden, jarring movements throughout the cardiovascular system. Jumping exercises, running on hard surfaces, aerobic dance, and plyometric movements generate kinetic forces that aging hearts simply cannot safely absorb. Every high-impact movement creates shock waves that travel through your cardiovascular system at the speed of sound. When your feet hit the ground during jumping or running, the impact force is transmitted directly through your skeletal system to your heart and major blood vessels. In younger individuals, flexible blood vessels can absorb and dissipate these shock waves harmlessly. However, aging arteries become increasingly rigid and brittle, making them vulnerable to damage from repeated impact forces. Each high-impact movement creates microscopic tears in arterial walls that accumulate over time, leading to accelerated atherosclerosis and increased risk of aneurysms. The mathematical reality is sobering. A 150-pound senior performing jumping jacks generates impact forces of 450 to 600 pounds with each landing. This force travels through the cardiovascular system in milliseconds, creating pressure waves that can rupture delicate blood vessels or trigger dangerous arrhythmias. High-impact exercises create rapid oscillations in blood pressure that can overwhelm the regulatory mechanisms of aging cardiovascular systems. During jumping movements, blood pressure can swing from 120 over 80 millimeters of mercury to 180 over 120 millimeters of mercury and back again in seconds. These pressure oscillations occur faster than aging nervous systems can compensate for, creating periods of dangerous hypertension followed by relative hypotension. The cardiovascular system essentially loses its ability to maintain stable blood pressure, leading to reduced organ perfusion and increased risk of stroke or cardiac events. Dr. Sarah Williams's research at the Mayo Clinic documented blood pressure swings of over 100 millimeters of mercury during high-impact exercises in seniors, changes large enough to trigger immediate cardiovascular emergencies in vulnerable individuals. High-impact activities are particularly dangerous for seniors because they can trigger cardiac arrhythmias through multiple mechanisms. The sudden pressure changes, impact forces, and rapid heart rate fluctuations can disrupt the electrical conduction system of aging hearts. Seniors are especially vulnerable to exercise-induced atrial fibrillation, an irregular heart rhythm that dramatically increases stroke risk. Unlike younger individuals who might experience brief, harmless rhythm disturbances, seniors who develop exercise-induced arrhythmias often require lifelong medication and monitoring. The real-world dangers of high-impact exercise for seniors are illustrated by the case of Dorothy, a 71-year-old grandmother who joined a senior Zumba class to stay active and social. Despite the senior designation, the class included jumping movements, rapid direction changes, and sustained high-intensity activity. During her fifth class session, Dorothy suddenly stopped mid-routine and grabbed her chest. She described feeling like her heart was jumping out of her chest before collapsing unconscious. Emergency responders found her in a dangerous heart rhythm called supraventricular tachycardia, with a heart rate over 200 beats per minute. The subsequent cardiac evaluation revealed that the high-impact movements had triggered an electrical malfunction in Dorothy's heart that required emergency medication to correct. She now lives with permanent cardiac monitoring equipment and can no longer participate in physical activities she once enjoyed. High-impact exercises don't just stress joints. They create systemic inflammation that directly damages the cardiovascular system. Each jarring impact triggers inflammatory responses throughout the body, releasing chemicals that attack blood vessel walls and increase clotting risk. This exercise-induced inflammation is particularly problematic for seniors because their bodies cannot resolve inflammatory responses as quickly as younger individuals. The result is chronic, low-grade inflammation that accelerates cardiovascular disease progression while masquerading as beneficial exercise. High-impact exercises significantly increase fall risk for seniors, and falls often trigger cardiovascular emergencies even when they don't cause obvious injuries. The stress of falling, fear, responses, and potential injuries can precipitate heart attacks, strokes, or dangerous arrhythmias in seniors whose cardiovascular systems are already operating at their limits. Emergency departments report a strong correlation between exercise-related falls and subsequent cardiac events in seniors. Many individuals who fall during high-impact exercise develop cardiovascular complications within hours or days of the incident, even when the fall itself seemed minor. The solution is to embrace low-impact exercises that provide cardiovascular benefits without subjecting your system to dangerous kinetic forces. Walking, swimming, cycling, and seated exercises offer excellent cardiovascular conditioning while protecting your heart from impact-related stress. Water-based exercises are particularly beneficial because the buoyancy eliminates impact forces while providing natural resistance for muscle strengthening. Chair-based exercise routines allow you to maintain cardiovascular fitness while ensuring stability and safety. Research consistently demonstrates that seniors achieve superior cardiovascular health outcomes with low-impact exercise programs compared to high-impact alternatives, while experiencing significantly fewer exercise-related injuries and complications. The fifth and perhaps most overlooked exercise category destroying senior hearts is late evening physical activity. Millions of seniors exercise within 3 to 4 hours of bedtime, unknowingly disrupting critical circadian rhythms that regulate cardiovascular function and recovery. Your cardiovascular system operates on a precise 24-hour cycle that becomes increasingly important with age. Heart rate, blood pressure, hormone production, and cellular repair mechanisms all follow circadian patterns that support optimal cardiovascular function when properly synchronized. Evening exercise disrupts these patterns by triggering daytime physiological responses when your body should be preparing for nocturnal repair and recovery. Core body temperature rises, stress hormones flood your system, and your nervous system enters a state of high alert that can persist for hours after exercise completion. For seniors whose circadian rhythms are already weakened by aging, evening exercise can completely derail the cardiovascular recovery processes that occur during sleep. This disruption accumulates over time, leading to chronic cardiovascular stress that manifests as hypertension, arrhythmias, and increased risk of cardiac events. Evening exercise creates a vicious cycle of poor sleep and cardiovascular deterioration that can be fatal for seniors. The elevated heart rate, blood pressure, and stress hormones triggered by late exercise prevent the deep, restorative sleep that aging hearts desperately need for repair and regeneration. Poor sleep quality directly damages cardiovascular health through multiple mechanisms. Sleep deprivation increases inflammation, elevates stress hormones, disrupts blood sugar regulation, and impairs the immune system's ability to repair damaged blood vessels. Research from Harvard Medical School demonstrates that seniors who exercise within 4 hours of bedtime have 60% higher rates of cardiovascular events compared to those who exercise earlier in the day, even when total exercise duration and intensity are identical. Late evening exercise triggers massive releases of cortisol, adrenaline, and other stress hormones that should naturally decline as bedtime approaches. These hormonal surges can remain elevated for 6 to 8 hours after exercise, completely disrupting normal circadian hormone patterns. Chronically elevated stress hormones directly damage the cardiovascular system by increasing blood pressure, promoting blood clot formation and accelerating atherosclerosis progression. Seniors who exercise late in the evening often develop what appears to be stress-related heart disease, not realizing their exercise timing is the primary culprit. Evening exercise frequently leads to nocturnal hypertension, elevated blood pressure during sleep that is particularly dangerous for seniors. While blood pressure normally drops by 10 to 20% during sleep, seniors who exercise late often maintain elevated pressures throughout the night. This sustained hypertension during sleep dramatically increases stroke risk and accelerates cardiovascular disease progression. The brain, kidneys, and other organs never receive the protective benefits of nocturnal blood pressure reduction, leading to accelerated aging and increased risk of catastrophic events. The hidden dangers of evening exercise are exemplified by the case of Margaret, a 64-year-old retired librarian who practiced yoga every evening before bed as part of her relaxation routine. She believed the gentle stretching and breathing exercises would help her sleep better and reduce stress. After 6 months of evening yoga practice, Margaret began experiencing episodes of rapid heart rate and chest discomfort during the night. Sleep studies revealed that her heart rate remained elevated throughout sleep, never dropping to the restful levels necessary for cardiovascular recovery. The sleep disruption and chronic cardiovascular stress eventually triggered a serious arrhythmia that required emergency hospitalization and permanent cardiac monitoring. By simply moving her yoga practice to morning hours, Margaret was able to restore normal sleep patterns and significantly improve her cardiovascular health. Many seniors take cardiovascular medications that are designed to work in harmony with natural circadian rhythms. Evening exercise can disrupt these carefully timed medication effects, potentially creating dangerous drug interactions or reducing medication effectiveness. Blood pressure medications, for example, are often prescribed to provide maximum effect during daytime hours when blood pressure naturally peaks. Evening exercise can override these medications, leading to dangerous pressure spikes that the drugs cannot control. The solution is to align your exercise routine with your body's natural circadian rhythms by exercising in the morning or early afternoon. Morning exercise works with your body's natural awakening processes, providing energy for the day while preserving evening hours for relaxation and sleep preparation. Morning exercise also provides superior cardiovascular benefits because your heart rate variability, blood pressure regulation, and stress hormone patterns are optimized for physical activity during daylight hours. Research consistently shows that seniors who exercise in the morning have better sleep quality, lower resting blood pressure, reduced stress hormone levels, and significantly fewer cardiovascular events compared to evening exercises. If you recognize yourself in any of these 5 dangerous exercise categories, don't panic. Your heart has remarkable healing capacity when given proper support and protection. The key is transitioning from harmful exercise patterns to heart-protective activities that work with your aging physiology rather than against it. Begin your cardiovascular recovery with a 30-day period of gentle heart-protective activities. This reset period allows your cardiovascular system to recover from previous exercise-induced stress while establishing new, safer movement patterns. Focus on daily 10 to 15-minute walks at a conversational pace, gentle stretching routines that never cause strain, and basic resistance exercises using light weights or resistance bands. The goal is consistent, gentle movement that promotes circulation without creating cardiovascular stress. Monitor your heart rate recovery as an indicator of cardiovascular health improvement. After any exercise session, your heart rate should return to within 20 beats of your resting rate within 5 minutes of stopping activity. If your heart rate remains elevated beyond this time frame, you're exercising too intensely for your current cardiovascular capacity. Gradually build intensity only when your recovery times consistently improve. Use sleep quality as a sensitive indicator of exercise appropriateness. Beneficial exercise should improve sleep quality and duration, while harmful exercise often disrupts sleep patterns. If you experience difficulty falling asleep, frequent nighttime awakening, or morning fatigue after exercise, these are signs that your exercise routine may be creating cardiovascular stress rather than promoting health. Based on decades of cardiovascular research and clinical experience treating senior patients, here is the evidence-based exercise prescription that protects and strengthens aging hearts. Frequency should be daily gentle movement with moderate exercise every other day. Duration should be 15 to 30 minutes per session, never exceeding 45 minutes. For intensity, maintain conversational pace throughout all activities. For timing, morning or early afternoon, ending at least 4 hours before bedtime. For environment, climate-controlled when possible, avoiding extreme weather. For progression, increase duration before intensity, maximum 10% weekly increases. For recovery, 48 to 72 hours between challenging sessions. Lastly, prioritize how you feel over any device measurements. Starting immediately, commit to these heart protective changes. 1. Stop participating in any of the 5 dangerous exercise categories identified in this guide. 2. Schedule an appointment to discuss your exercise routine and obtain personalized cardiovascular exercise guidelines. 3. Begin the 30-day cardiac reset program with gentle daily movement. 4. Track sleep quality, energy levels, and recovery times as indicators of exercise appropriateness. 5. Connect with healthcare providers, exercise professionals, and other seniors who prioritize heart-safe fitness. The fitness industry has failed seniors by promoting exercise philosophies designed for young, healthy individuals. The truth is that your 60-plus-year-old heart has different needs, limitations, and responses than younger cardiovascular systems. True fitness after 60 isn't about proving you can still do everything you did at 30. It's about intelligently adapting your activities to support and protect the cardiovascular system that served you faithfully for decades. Your heart has beaten over 2 billion times to keep you alive. It deserves your respect, protection, and gratitude, not the punishment of inappropriate exercise that could end its faithful service prematurely. Choose wisdom over willpower. Choose safety over ego. Choose life over misguided fitness trends. Your heart and your family will thank you for making these life-saving changes today.